Even Warren Buffett entered the game, and his company Berkshire Hathaway bought shares. All the assets owned by all the companies in the S&P 500 generate a net sum that doesn't even come out to 20% of the index's value. They expect the dollar to fall 20% within 2021, and it's gonna happen this way. Welcome to the Coin Post. The second COVID-19 vaccine from Moderna had a similar effect on the stock market as Pfizer's did. Investors were even more likely to buy stocks from companies that crashed and were hoping their value would go up the following year. Moreover, even Warren Buffett joined the race and made his big bet on drug companies. The dollar decline should help this new rally in the stock market, to which Citigroup analysts are predicting a 20% fall. Does this mean that now is the time to buy securities on the US stock market and wait for other currencies to strengthen? Let's find out these answers together, looking at both the obvious and the hidden nuances. And if you want to have more videos on the channel, support me with your likes, please. Let's start. The second vaccine came a week after the first one, and if it goes on like this, we're gonna get some more miraculous drugs for COVID-19 very soon. Although Moderna's product is more efficacious and less demanding in terms of transportation, simply put, it's better. It's important to understand that tomorrow, in a month, in 6 months, the entire population of the planet won't get vaccinated out of the blue, and COVID-19 won't go anywhere. The World Health Organization warned of this, saying, "It's too early to throw masks away and hope that quarantine restrictions will be lifted." But investors live in the future, and in their understanding, now's the time to buy stocks of companies that dropped because of the COVID-19. Because then their businesses get afloat, with money flowing in, and the securities grow, and everyone gets rich. And of course, hoping there will be no more stock market crash. Even Warren Buffett entered the game, and his company Berkshire Hathaway bought shares in drug companies like AbbVie, Bristol Myers Squibb, Merck, and Pfizer for a total amount of almost $6 billion. But you know what the Oracle of Omaha sold? A little bit of Apple shares. We're talking a really small 4% amount of Buffett's share in the company. But in general, we see that the legendary investor supported the market tendency to shift from stocks of IT companies, which are considered overvalued, to share of companies that are now badly undervalued by the market. But in the long term, of 1 to 3 years, they will bring great profit. The plan is good on all sides, but there is one question. Are there really undervalued stocks on the market now? Because in 2017 we were talking about a bubble. In 2018, about an overinflated market. In 2019, predicted a crisis. And so the year 2020 came, which first brought the biggest market collapse, but then the indices recovered and the S&P 500 hit a new all-time high. As calculated by Bloomberg, all the assets owned by all the companies in the S&P 500 generate a net sum that doesn't even come out to 20% of the index's value. It's a record figure, which is explained by the fact that a business like Apple, Google, and Microsoft is much easier to scale than the real economy sector. The only question is such a gap between the S&P 500 price and its included real assets normal? On December 21st, Tesla was added to this list, becoming the world's most expensive car manufacturer in summer. And although it's catastrophically losing to famous auto companies on the production base and volumes where the real sector is, yet we see a huge imbalance between the price of the company and its assets at the expense of the so-called investments in the future. By the way, if this bubble fails and explodes, I suggest we call it the Tesla bubble. Share in the comments if you like this option, or you can offer yours. And next, let's talk about the 20% dollar depreciation. They've been talking about the dollar decline since early fall, and analysts of the international financial holdings Citigroup have now joined the discussion. They expect the dollar to fall 20% within 2021, and it's gonna happen this way. Thanks to the vaccine, the global economy will start lifting quarantine measures and will need to print even more dollars to restart quickly. The Fed already promised to speed up inflation so that it's 2% by the end of the year. There is also unlimited quantitative easing, and markets expect the US political turmoil to end and to be given a second relief package. In general, the theory is quite solid, and everything indicates we'll get more and more cash, which will drive the stock price. But there are always subtle nuances. For example, if the euro to dollar exchange rate changes by 20%, then we'll see the quotations like before the 2008 crisis. Call it a coincidence, except Europe doesn't need this at all. They need to save their own economies, and so the ECB's expected response would be a similar euro depreciation. What's not in the dollar crash forecast is the factors that will lead to its growth, in fact, to an economic crisis. I'll tell you all about it right after you give us a thumbs up, because the faster the channel grows, the more videos we can make. So, making a bet that the pandemic will be over and demand will return to the pre-corona level is pretty controversial. The first months after the first lockdown was over showed that people only lined up in cafes and restaurants for a couple of weeks, and then it passed too, and everyone realized they were just fine eating at home. There was a similar picture in other businesses too, as delayed demand was much weaker than expected. Today, they blame it on the fact that coronavirus threat is still here and people are limiting themselves. There's another way of looking at it, as the consumer habits changed and it's about saving now. This is a new global trend that's now getting widespread. People are starting to realize that the amount of food, entertainment, and other resources they used to consume, they just don't need all that anymore. The more people save, the less money businesses get. And because the vaccine is going to defeat the coronavirus, states will terminate their relief programs, and we can welcome the wave of bankruptcies and crowds of unemployed around the world. This could be a trigger for a new crisis, which would mean the dollar would surge again. Share in the comments what you think of the situation when the pandemic is over and life is back to normal as it was in 2019. Do you believe in that, or is there no going back? And don't forget to share this video with your friends. And that would be it for today. Thanks for watching. It's the Coin Post channel. Subscribe and get enlightened.